So this will be our first video of the new 106 single cab that we purchased a couple of months ago now, but we've just been so busy with the 24-hour, the prep, and then the event itself and making the videos that we haven't had a chance to show you this. So we've had a few little glimpses of it on our social pages. We'll sneak this one in between a couple of the 24-hour episodes. So all the little bits and pieces we've done, the few little mods, we filmed it all. And at the end of this video, you'll see it's ready for its maiden run in my care. And in that video, we'll also have the walk around. I'll explain what it's got and how it came. We'll start the video getting to know the 106 a little better and a good wash. See if it's hiding anything from me. Best way to clean them, and then we feed water back down, and then you've got to drive obviously, because this is the lowest section. You can see the mud coming out. And on our LN106, the blue one we had this all rusted out internally, and we'll backwash back so you can see there was mud as it's coming out. And I just do it until now the water cleans up. We probably do it every time you wash the car. I wash the chassis normally. Even in the 79, I'm still getting the mud from the Simpson Desert out of it. Face it rearward. You see all that mud there. So you just use the holes, go left and right, front and back. You can see mud. There is mud in there. Not a lot. We've got open sliders in this, do we? Yep. Bit of mud in them. We will get there. We will clean this old girl up. I think that is super cool. He's extended the brake lines and then he's put a spring to help hold it. This is going to tell a story. I can see through though. It's a decent hole. The one end had the plug on and one end didn't. So having seen that, it hasn't really been abused as a mud warrior, having one end on and one end off. We need to spend a bit of time modifying some old gate sides to suit this ute. Not that I believe everything I read, but I'm willing to give it a shot. Apparently this is magic rust remover. I guess if it were to be true, there'd be no rust left in this world. I'm gonna have to go old school. I'll grind it back and prime it and then paint it. No easy quick fix, unfortunately. Genuine key. Got to get this cut so we can preserve this. A genuine tow ball too. One of our windscreen stickers, a must have. There we have it, the new look. It's definitely one of the Team Bullet fleet now. I love running the 80 series center caps on the back of the Hiluxes. They look so neat. Okay, this variant must have that optional extra mirror for the passenger, but I've never had a model without a clock before. I find that really, really strange. So I've been using it for work of late. Makes me feel young again. And check out how flat those IFS springs can go. So we took a kitchen to the tip, 620 kilos of rubbish, and the tear weight is under 2 ton. It's good to know. So a phone call to all 4x4 spares, and over the years they've always had what I've struggled to find. And believe it or not, they had a bench seat they gave to me for such a good deal. With the bucket seat out, the passenger side floor under the vinyl wasn't too bad at all. I clean up the vinyl back in. We've got passenger and then the middle passenger. Works so nice. Get a level from behind the chair or the jack. So good. Seems as though we have a steel bull bar. I just assumed that it was aluminium powder coated. There's alley, steel. That's quite cool. We'll probably keep that. The old school way of stopping this rust, steel wheel and then some red oxide. Get rid of that flaky stuff and get some paint on it before we put the white on. Kumo didn't have any stock of any of the RTs or the MT71s. We picked up a set of BFs to put on it for now. Who remembers these good old things? The club lock. For sure, they weren't bulletproof. People still got in. They either took the steering wheel off or they cut them. But make sure, if you want this one, to bring some wheels. So while Nick from Cosmetic Tire and Auto had the 2 sets of wheels and tyres to change over at his leisure, so there was no rush, it was time for me to clean up the chassis and make it look nice and fresh. 10 cans of epoxy enamel, gloss black, at my disposal. Spraying the underside of any car always reminds me of my younger days and going to car yards and looking at cars, and first thing you'd notice, all the car yards would spray the chassis black. I remember 175, I was looking under one day and I got black paint all over me. It had just been done in the background. I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to wheel with this tow bar down here, even if we take the neck off. So I'm thinking of making one a bit higher, which means we need to get this one off. Will it be a mission? Why wouldn't it be? Need more power by the look of it. Nope, that didn't work either. Captive nuts too. Even cutting the heads off these won't help me because the bolt's going through this plate and then sandwiching the chassis. Ooh, far out. Oh, the 5 minutes I allowed for this is not going to happen. If I can't get it off at the minute, might as well just paint it. At least it'll look clean until I work out how I'm going to get it off. So when I picked the wheels up from Nick after he had swapped and balanced them, I said to him I might pop back and give you guys a chance at undoing a bolt that I had no chance of undoing. And a few days later, though it is turning, I think we've broken the world on the nut internally. So that means we need to get a spanner inside the chassis so we can hold that nut. Okay, what's the worst that can happen? It's a pretty good little bench, the mud flap. You put all your sockets on there. I think he's got a stronger one that he's got on charge. Yeah, fail again. Looked like it was dust penetrating. What about is a bar going to be better? Oh, you just snapped it. Snapped it, but at least we got it off. That's crazy. Wow, man beats machine. Well, it was actually Nick and I, so it was 2 people beat the machine. But anyway, it's not a competition. We got it off. And you can see on this bracket here how much snapped compared to, but it's not even high tensile, like it's coarse thread. It wasn't fine thread like the other ones were, which were into that nut that was welded to that first bracket. It was a really solid bar back in the day. So if anybody out there that's in Sydney needs a tow bar, we'll have it up for sale. Hit me up on my pages or give me a comment below. We dropped the spare tyre and we cleaned it all up. Gave it some fresh love with some paint. Painted all this. And we'll eventually put that 285 back underneath. So that's a 33-inch tyre. Really good to have the proper size spare when you are out wheeling. And it was brand new. So we'll give it a clean up and we'll throw that back up in there once we reveal what number plate we got. So the bit of advice from Nick from Cosmetic Tire and Auto, I mean, he is the tyre guy. Nick suggested maybe running these Go Form mud tyres on the Jayco. They're only a year or so old, these tyres. I mean, we are off to TJ's in a few days for the next 24 hour. You just have to check the offset, make sure that they don't touch on the inside. So we fitted them up to the 80 series rim. A little bit of overspray on the tyre, we'll just wipe back with a bit of Terps. So we'll paint the back of the rim too. So what we need to determine is whether or not the 80 rim will touch here, the offset difference. So I'm actually coming out of the 80s into the 90s trying this, from a 15 to a 16 inch. So we're clean down and a top up of the Jayco. 33 in the 12.5 15 and 285 75 16. To the naked eye, that is a lot wider. So hopefully, because we're nearly touching with that one, the offset's that little bit different. So I believe the 80 series is a 0 and these potentially a neg 12. So we've got 12 mil to play with. But height wise, we are not compromising any height. If anything, this might just be a touch taller, but it's not going to change drastically the height of it. I mean, the thing doesn't drive, it just gets pulled along. But the big humps at TJ's, I didn't really want to go a smaller height or a lower height. So we'll put it on and we'll do the old finger test. So no play, wrong offset, cannot be used. What a bugger. It's too tight. If you're in Sydney and you're after some trailer tyres, and I do have a spare, a brand new 750/16 to go with these, let me know. And you might be thinking, wow, what a waste of time that was. But it's not, it's all about gaining knowledge. The only issue I've got is remembering that knowledge, so in 2 years' time when I go to do the same thing again. Okay, so now we're going to look at the fuel consumption, but first we need to work out if there's any discrepancy in the speedo running the 285. So the speedo's on 80, but our actual speed is 84. So we'll call that a 5% discrepancy. So we got 326 kilometers out of that first tank, and we put in 36 odd litres. So we do the maths and it works out at 9.42 kilometers per litre, or 10.6 litres per 100. So way better than the 79. With fuel prices the way they are, it's given me more reason to drive the 106 around as a daily. So I had 5 minutes and I thought I'd have a go at cleaning up the driver's side floor. So we got surface rust there as you enter and under the vinyl. It's going to take me a bit longer than 5 minutes this one, and I'm going to have to take the chair out. That's water. So it's coming down. It's coming down that. It's this rubber. Wow. So a new rubber, and we stop water hitting the ground here. So it's not in the inner guard or anything like that. I was just sitting at the lights there, you can see water. And so this rubber isn't letting the water go down like the gutter would, or a flashing. It's just coming in there. Wow. It does get water in when it rains on the driver's side. I do see water on that rust mark. It's the first lot of driving in the wet on the BFs, the KM2s. Now these things are nearly 10 years old, whilst the tread is almost new. I'm hoping a couple of mil of rubber off the leading edge of these tyres and they will soften up. Very little resistance for traction on the wet roads. And the only way that it is sticking is foot off that skinny pedal. Alright, it's time to play with shocks and suspension. So we dive deep into the back of the garage. Also too, I'm going to change the door mirrors. I'm going to take the work ones off and put these. These are bullet spares. I've got plenty of different shocks to suit all kinds of different suspension that we've had in Hiluxes in the past. So these are the stock 79 series shocks in the back of this Hilux. And I do have a variety of different lengths to suit the back of these. These are the IFS rears. They're quite flat, so I'm expecting a bit of travel out of them. So these old Ranchos I actually ran in the back of the last 79 I had while I was testing the parabolics. After we did the shock hoops, we also ran them on the front of Bullet before I picked up a longer one. So the only thing I've got to determine now is whether or not that shock is too long and it'll bottom out with the up travel the springs might give. And we'll work all that out on our upcoming run very soon. Our first wheel, I can't wait. Here's the big number plate reveal. So now we need to get all the Penrite fluids into this ute, the liquid gold. And I'm really excited to use their new filters they have for the L motors. And the cool thing that the engineers have come up with, is a 19mm removal nut. With the L motors, you can see the filter comes out from the side, and I can touch the end of the filter quite easily, so wouldn't be a problem to get a 19mm spanner on the end of that. Just to crack it, so then you can still take it off from underneath. You're still going to get the oil all over your arm. So I've shown you a few tricks over the years, but this is one of my favorites. The Juice Brothers not only make awesome orange juice that we like to buy, but they thread opposite each other. So as a funnel, that's screwed into the thread of the tapper cover. So you don't have to worry about holding the funnel. Before I drain the transfer case, I like to lock the hubs, stick it in high 4, and just run it around the block. Obviously, when you are turning corners, sharp corners, go back into too high. And always a good sign, not seeing any metal on that magnet. Preventative maintenance, as they say. Look at this, it's still got the radiator bash plate in it. You don't see that too often. And anything we put in too much, let it run back out until it hits the underside of that filler plug. It's actually a Turren Point Toyota vehicle, this one. So after the Penrite fluids install gets written down in the book, and then the motor oil will change every 5,000, sold to the bush. Looks like it was looked after by Toyota for a long time. Till 2014. A long time. From 97 to 2014. So we'll start our own little list of maintenance and mods right here. At a young old age at 320,329. So with that, I'm really honoured to announce this. Team Bullet Off-Road has been chosen again by Penrite Oils to be an ambassador for 2026. I feel like we had a great year together last year, 2025. We were chosen as part of their 100-year story. We had 2 24-hour drive till you drops, and I look forward to working together in 2026. We're hoping for a big 2026. We've already had one drive till you drop. Penrite Oils was all over that, and we feel very lucky, privileged and humbled to be a part of them. So with the front shocks, the shocks that I had in stock were either too short, so I wasn't going to get the droop that the front of these gets, or too long. But I touched base with an old friend of mine, John, from 4-Wheel Drive 1. He found the correct length shock, which I know I've got somewhere in one of the garages, and I know I'll find them one day. So we get these in, and I think they're going to be perfect. Now, while I'm going to keep the J-arm, the torque rod, and the drag link as they are, as standard, I'm not going to push the diff forward. We're going to go to the on all fours challenge. The only concern I've got is, will the back of these tyres hit the inner guard? So again, in that upcoming run, we'll be able to test all this stuff out. I don't want to run smaller than a 285 in the class that I'm going to be in. The little 106 is nearly ready for its maiden run. Well, in my hands anyway. One more thing to do is get this Roadrunner X8288 high speed, low mount winch in the bar. Suspension wise, we are at where we need to be to run in standard class at the upcoming On All Fours Challenge, June long weekend. 2-inch lift and all the factory mounts intact. 285 75 16 tyre straight into that class. So yes, the Roadrunner winch, one of the last things before we take this out for a wheel, and I really didn't want to take the whole bar off if I didn't have to. So there were 3 bolts on each side of the bracket holding the bar to it. So I thought if I could undo 2, loosen the 3rd, it may pivot forward like a Mack truck. But I had to make clearance, so I got it to pivot. The time will tell whether it's enough to get the old King's winch out and then the new Roadrunner 6.8 high speed low mount winch in there. We did need a few mods to get the Roadrunner winch in, as it is a little bit bigger than what was in there. But to get rid of a bit of metal and make a few holes, it gave me the opportunity to paint up front. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you like what you see with the new LN106 we have. The next video we'll have is another episode coming out of TJ's, the 24-hour drive till you drop. The second half of Crawler Lane, and there's a couple of really nice drives and there's some winching to be had. As always, thanks for watching.